Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Weather Nerds YouTube channel. I'm your host, meteorologist Greg Majeski, and I thought I would tackle a subject that's becoming a growing problem across America, especially in recent years, and that is the subject of weather anxiety. Now, before we get going, I do want to say that first, I am not a professional, okay? And if weather anxiety is something that you're definitely fighting with, the best advice I can give you is please see a mental health provider and get the help that you need to kind of combat this kind of debilitating condition with weather anxiety, because there's a lot of folks across the country that have it real bad. Now, with that said, I'm giving you this from the perspective of a trained meteorologist, somebody who's worked in the broadcast industry, since the late 90s for, almost 30 years, and kind of give you my perspective on the subject. Because I tell you, I would say probably since COVID, it has really kind of upped exponentially over the years. And of course, we've got all the different social media. I mean, you got YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you name it. There's so many different venues out there that you can get your weather information from. The problem is that you don't know who to trust anymore. You have legitimate sources out there, whether it be from TV stations or legitimate meteorologists out there, but you have your weather enthusiasts and you have your storm chasers and you have people out there, trying to make a buck. And there's nothing wrong with that if you're doing it in a right way. When I say right way, I mean credible way, where I'm not sitting there taking every particular event and scaring the bejesus out of you. And that's what's been happening more and more out there, and you just don't know who to trust anymore. So I always tell everybody, whether you're watching my channel or somebody else's channel or your local TV market, find that individual local weather guy that you trust, that you have that rapport with, that you know is going to steer you in the right direction. That's critical. And then everybody else, tune them out. If you have weather anxiety, make sure that you just tune them out. You got all the different resources here. You got them on the phone. You got them on your computers and things like that. Unsubscribe, unfollow, block them. Do whatever you got to do if you have weather anxiety that causes you issues, okay? Make sure you're getting your weather information from a legitimate source, and make sure you kind of tune out all the noise, because God knows there is plenty of noise out there. You just don't know who to trust anymore. All right, it wasn't so bad, back in the day, where I worked in television. It was pretty much one source. You had the weather service. You had maybe I got an alert coming off my weather radio to kind of keep me alert, and things like that you knew where to get it from. Then social media came along, and we started doing this in the late 2000s with Facebook and doing other things like that. And it was catching on a little bit. It wasn't that big a deal, but boy, I tell you, I gotta say, about the time of COVID, after 2020, it really started upping it up. In the last couple of years, it's been a growing problem. And the other part of the equation on this, and us meteorologists kind of talked amongst ourselves about this, is the cry wolf factor. We were discussing this at a weather conference back in December. And, if every storm is the storm of the centuries, every storm is something that's going to cause you a problem, you get numb to it. You don't even know what to believe anymore. So what happens is if something big does come along, you're like, you said that last time. You tune it out, and then you're not ready, and then something major comes along, and then you're looking at problems. Okay, that's definitely a big no-no here in my world. If I was out here on this Weather Nerds channel and I wanted to go ahead and make it all about the clicks and subscribes and things like that, I'd definitely be doing a lot different than I do right now. I try to balance it. Of course, I try to make a YouTube thumbnail that'll attract people, but I don't try to scare people. Okay, I try to find a balance here. Yes, I do like to try to make a little money with the channel to make this service, self-sufficient. But I'm not going to sacrifice at the credibility of what I'm presenting and what is showing out there. I just present the facts. I present what the models are showing, and I don't go over the top with it so that someone out there is scared and is paralyzed and doesn't know what to do. So, well, as I said, you got to find that weather source that you trust the most, and that is who you need to stay with, and make sure you kind of avoid all the extra noise. There's just so much out there, you get overwhelmed. And for those who have weather anxiety, you may also be suffering a little bit of PTSD. I have my own anxiety. I served in the military. I have my own little issues there dealing with having served in Afghanistan and Iraq and things like that. They're different, but in some ways they are the same. So that's why that seeing a mental health professional and a counselor is very, very critical. If you suffered from a severe weather event, maybe you've had a family member who passed away, or perhaps something's happened to someone in your family or your neighbor or something like that, and that has upped your anxiety. Again, I got to say it again, see that mental health provider. I know there's a lot of stigma out there, and whether you want to go see somebody or see a counselor or see anybody out there who might help you manage your anxiety, but trust me, you don't want to live with it. It's very debilitating. You know, having dealt with a father with PTSD and anxiety from war, you darn sure don't want to be dealing with it and from a potential severe weather event that may have occurred in your life. It's definitely something you don't want to live with, and you don't want it to cripple you. So where every time the weather starts to amp up, you're crippled and you don't know what to do and you freeze. You know, we've got severe weather that's coming up here in the next 7 days. We're going to see it kind of creep back up, and you're going to get bombarded once again with all these different sources. And you're like, what am I going to do? Well, just calm it down. Take it easy. Take a breath. The odds are, statistically and everything else, that you're going to be just fine. The odds are that you're more likely to probably win a lottery than you are to have become a death casualty from severe weather. But that doesn't mean you can't be prepared and be ready to act should something bad happen, whether it be a landfalling hurricane, major severe weather outbreak. You just don't know. You just got to be prepared to act and trust the information you're getting from your dedicated weather source, whether it be me, your local TV weather guy, some other social media person out there on YouTube or Facebook or TikTok or wherever. Trust those folks. Make sure that they're legitimate. You know, make sure they're not some Yahoo or some enthusiast that just is trying to get a click. Make sure it's somebody you trust. You know the information you're getting is credible, and that you're going to react accordingly should you need to do it. Anyway, I'd like to get your thoughts on this. Again, if you got any opinions, you got any thoughts on weather anxiety, please post it down below. I'll be more than happy to kind of interact with you guys a little bit on the subject. But again, I always say, be prepared, not scared. That's something that I try to do in my service here on the Weather Nerds channel, and even in my North Georgia First Alert Weather for my local audience there in North Georgia. That's what I try to do, and to keep you safe. That's my motto, and that's what I try to do. All right, that is y'all's update. You guys take it easy. We'll keep you updated. Look for those severe weather updates here as I'll continue to post and kind of monitor what's going to be going on here, not only for the next week, but for the rest of the year. And again, if you are a subscriber, thank you for being one of our viewers. You guys take it easy. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.